The coat felt heavy in Beatrice Ashford's hands, not from its weight, but from what it meant. She stood at the servants' entrance of Thornwood Manor, her worn brown dress damp from the morning mist. Her fingers traced the fine wool of the dark blue coat. It belonged to Lord William Harrington. He had given it to her 3 nights ago when rain caught her walking home from the village. She had been cold. He had been kind. That kindness terrified her more than cruelty ever could. The door opened. A stern-faced butler looked down at her. His eyes swept over her shabby clothes with familiar contempt. "Tradesman's entrance is around back," he said. "I need to return something to Lord Harrington." Beatrice kept her voice steady. Years of practice made that possible. "He lent me his coat." The butler's eyebrow lifted. "Indeed. Wait here." He closed the door. Beatrice stood alone on the stone steps. She pulled the coat closer. 3 days she had kept it in her tiny room at her stepmother's house. 3 days she had breathed in the scent that clung to its fibres, sandalwood and old books, clean linen and something else she could not name. The scent of his room, she imagined. The scent of a life she would never know. Her stepmother had found the coat that morning. The shouting still rang in Beatrice's ears. "Stealing from nobility now?" Victoria Ashford had shrieked. "You bring more shame on this family every day. Your father should have drowned you at birth. At least then he might have found a proper wife instead of wasting years on your worthless mother." Beatrice had tried to explain. Victoria had not listened. She never did. The coat was evidence of Beatrice's wickedness. It must be returned immediately with an apology for whatever lies Beatrice had told to obtain it. So, here she stood. 23 years old, too old to marry, everyone said, too plain to attract attention, too poor to have prospects, a burden on her stepmother's household. That was her life. That was all it would ever be. The door opened again. The butler stepped aside. "Lord Harrington will see you in the blue drawing room. Follow me." Panic shot through her chest. "Oh no, I can just leave the coat with you. There's no need." "Lord Harrington insists. This way." She had no choice. She followed the butler through halls that smelled of beeswax and wealth. Her worn boots made no sound on the thick carpets. Paintings of stern ancestors watched her pass. She did not belong here. Every gilded frame and crystal chandelier reminded her of that truth. The butler stopped at a door. He knocked once and opened it. "Miss Ashford, my lord." Beatrice stepped into a room the colour of morning sky. Tall windows let in streams of pale sunlight. Books lined 2 walls. A fire crackled in a marble fireplace. And there, rising from a chair, was Lord William Harrington. He was 32 years old. She knew that from village gossip. Tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair and grey eyes that seemed to see too much. He had inherited the title young when his father died. 5 years ago, his wife had died giving birth to their stillborn son. Since then, he had become a ghost in his own house, rarely in society, always alone. "Miss Ashford." His voice was deep and quiet. "Please, come in." "My lord, I only came to return your coat." She held it out like a shield. "I'm grateful for your kindness. It was very generous. I'm sorry for the delay in returning it." He crossed the room to her. Each step made her heart race. He took the coat but did not look at it. He looked at her. "You need not apologize. I hoped you kept it longer. The nights have been cold." "I could not keep something so fine. It does not belong to me." Something flickered in his eyes. Sadness, perhaps, or recognition. Few things end up where they belong, I find. An awkward silence fell. Beatrice stared at the carpet. She should leave. Every moment here was improper, yet her feet would not move. "You walked from the village?" he asked. "Yes, my lord." "In this mist?" "It is not far." "Far enough." He draped the coat over a chair. "My housekeeper will prepare tea. You should warm yourself before the return journey." Please, my lord, that is not necessary. I have already imposed too much on your kindness. It is no imposition. He moved to pull a bell cord. I have no appointments this morning. I confess I would welcome the company. His words surprised her. Men of his rank did not seek company with women like her. They did not notice women like her at all. Yet his eyes held no mockery, only a strange loneliness that mirrored something in her own chest. The housekeeper appeared. Lord Harrington ordered tea. The woman's sharp eyes noted everything: Beatrice's worn dress, her wind-tangled hair, the careful distance she kept from his lordship. Judgment lived in that gaze. Beatrice knew it well. When they were alone again, Lord Harrington gestured to a chair near the fire. "Please, sit." She perched on the edge of the seat. He took the chair across from her. The fire warmed her cold hands. The room smelled like his coat, sandalwood and old books. She tried not to notice how that scent made her feel both safe and terrified. "How is your stepmother?" he asked. "I understand she has been unwell." Village gossip again. Everyone knew everything in a small place. "She is in good health, thank you, my lord." "And your stepsisters?" "They are well. Charlotte is engaged to Mr. Davies. Amelia hopes for a match this season." "But not you?" The question was gentle. It still cut like glass. "I am past the age for such hopes, my lord. 23 is hardly ancient. Perhaps not in your world. In mine, it is a death sentence." The words came out harder than she intended. Heat rushed to her face. "Forgive me, that was improper." "It was honest. I find I prefer honesty to propriety." He leaned back in his chair. "Tell me, Miss Ashford, what do you do with your days?" The question bewildered her. "Do, my lord?" "Yes. How do you spend your time?" "I help manage the household. I teach reading to the parish children twice a week. I tend the garden. I mend clothes. She trailed off. Her life sounded so small when spoken aloud. "I do what is needed." "The parish children are fortunate to have you. My late wife used to speak of the need for better education in the village. She had plans to start a school before—" He stopped. Pain crossed his face like a shadow. "I'm sorry for your loss, my lord." "It was 5 years ago. People tell me I should move on, that time heals all wounds." His jaw tightened. "They are wrong. Some wounds never heal. They simply become part of who you are." Beatrice understood that truth in her bones. She had lived with wounds so long, she no longer remembered life without them. The housekeeper returned with tea. She set the tray down with pointed care, making it clear this was highly irregular. When she left, Lord Harrington poured. He handed Beatrice a delicate cup. "Thank you, my lord." She sipped carefully. The tea was better than any she had tasted. Even that small luxury felt dangerous. "Miss Ashford, I have a proposition for you." She froze. Tea burned her tongue. Her mind raced with implications. Men of rank made propositions to poor women. Those propositions led nowhere good. He must have seen her fear. He raised a hand quickly. "Please, I did not mean to alarm you. It is nothing improper, I assure you. My library needs organizing. The collection is extensive and has fallen into disarray since my wife's death. I need someone to catalogue the books, repair damaged volumes, and create a proper system. You mentioned you teach reading. I assume you have some education." "My mother taught me before she died. I love books." The admission slipped out before she could stop it. "Then you would be well suited to the task. I would pay fairly. The work would take several months. You would come 3 days each week." It was impossible. Victoria would never allow it. Yet something in Beatrice's chest lifted at the thought. Months surrounded by books. Months away from her stepmother's house. Months in this beautiful room that smelled of safety. "I would need to discuss it with my stepmother. Of course, I will call on her this afternoon to make the offer formally." She can hardly refuse if I request the help directly." He smiled slightly. "There are some advantages to rank." That smile transformed his face. For a moment, the ghost became a man. Something warm unfolded in Beatrice's stomach. She looked away quickly. She finished her tea. Lord Harrington walked her to the door himself. The butler appeared to show her out, but his lordship waved him away. "Thank you for returning my coat, Miss Ashford, and for the pleasure of your company." "Thank you for the tea, my lord." She walked down the front steps. The mist had lifted. Pale sunlight touched the gardens. She could feel him watching her go. She did not look back. Looking back would make this real, and none of this could be real. Girls like her did not have tea with lords. They did not sit in beautiful rooms or smell sandalwood and old books. They certainly did not feel warmth spreading through their chest like spring after endless winter. She walked faster. The village road stretched ahead. Behind her, Thornwood Manor rose like a dream. But Beatrice had stopped believing in dreams long ago. Dreams were for people who had futures. She had only the present, and in the present, she was still nobody. Lord William Harrington stood at the window and watched her go. She walked with her head down, like someone used to avoiding notice. It made something in his chest tighten. He had thought about her these 3 days. That surprised him. He had not thought about any woman since Caroline died. But something about Miss Ashford had caught his attention that rainy night. She had been walking home from the village. The storm had come suddenly. He had been returning from his steward's cottage when he saw her trudging along the road. Rain had soaked her thin dress. She was shivering. Any gentleman would have stopped. But it was not duty that made him drape his coat around her shoulders. It was the look in her eyes when she tried to refuse his help. Pride and shame fighting each other. The pride of someone who had been beaten down, but refused to break completely. He had driven her home in his carriage. She had barely spoken. When he left her at her stepmother's gate, she had clutched his coat like armor. He had told her to keep it. She had shaken her head. "I cannot keep what is not mine," she had said. Those words had haunted him, so much longing in them, so much loss. He had not expected her to return the coat. Most people took what they could from the nobility and asked for more. But she had come on foot through the mist to return what she had borrowed. That simple honesty moved something in him he thought had died with Caroline. The proposition about the library had been an impulse, but watching her face light up when he mentioned books, he knew it was right. She belonged among words and knowledge, not trapped in whatever life her stepmother had made for her. He had heard the rumors about the Ashford household. The late Mr. Ashford had married Victoria when Beatrice was 15. Victoria had 2 daughters of her own. When Mr. Ashford died 3 years later, he left everything to his widow. Beatrice had become a servant in her own home. Unpaid, unwanted, tolerated only because abandoning her would cause scandal. William knew about being trapped. His entire life was a cage of duty and expectations. He had married Caroline because their families arranged it. He had tried to be a good husband. He thought she had been happy, but when she died he found her diary, page after page of loneliness. She had wanted love. He had given her courtesy. It was not enough. Since then, he had stopped trying to be anything to anyone. He managed his estates. He voted in Parliament when required. He existed. That was all. The emptiness inside him had become comfortable, familiar, until he saw Miss Ashford walking in the rain. Something about her made him want to feel again. That terrified him. He turned from the window. The room still smelled faintly of lavender, her scent. He picked up the teacup she had used. A small stain marked the rim where her lips had touched. Such a small thing. Yet he stared at it for a long moment before setting it down. He would call on Mrs. Victoria Ashford this afternoon. He would make his offer. And then Miss Beatrice Ashford would come to his library 3 times a week. He would see her, talk to her, learn what made that sad light flicker in her eyes. It was not wise. He knew that. But wisdom had brought him nothing but loneliness. Perhaps it was time to be foolish. Beatrice returned to her stepmother's house just before noon. The house was smaller than Thornwood Manor, much smaller, but it had belonged to her father. She had been born in the upstairs bedroom. That used to mean something. Now it only reminded her of everything she had lost. Victoria was in the drawing room with Charlotte and Amelia. The three of them looked up when Beatrice entered. Victoria's face was sharp with anger. "Well, did you grovel appropriately? Did you explain that you are a thief who cannot be trusted?" "I returned the coat. Lord Harrington was kind about it." "Kind?" Victoria laughed. "Men are never kind to women like you without expecting something in return. What did you promise him?" "Mother, really?" Charlotte looked uncomfortable. She was the gentler of the stepsisters. Sometimes she even showed Beatrice small kindnesses. "Beatrice would never—" "Be silent, Charlotte. You are too soft. This creature has manipulated you since we arrived." Victoria stood. She crossed to Beatrice. "Tell me the truth. What did you do to get that coat?" "I did nothing. It was raining. He saw me walking and offered help. That is all." Victoria's hand cracked across Beatrice's face. The blow was not unexpected. It still stung. "Do not lie to me. A lord does not notice scullery maids unless they throw themselves at him." "I did not." "Enough!" Victoria's voice rose. "You will go to your room. You will stay there until I decide what to do with you. If Lord Harrington comes calling with accusations, I will know you have ruined this family completely." Beatrice fled. Her room was in the attic, small and cold, with a narrow bed and a single window. But it was hers. The only space in the house where she could breathe. She sat on the bed. Her cheek throbbed. Tears wanted to come. She would not let them. Crying changed nothing. It never had. An hour later, heavy footsteps sounded on the stairs. Beatrice tensed. But it was only Jane, the maid. Jane was old and kind. She had worked for Beatrice's father. "Lord Harrington is here," Jane whispered. "He's asking for you specifically. Your stepmother is beside herself. He said he would come. He's offering me work in his library." Jane's eyes widened. "Lord bless us, paid work?" "Yes." "Then get downstairs before she ruins this chance for you." Beatrice smoothed her dress. She followed Jane down. Victoria stood in the entrance hall with forced politeness plastered on her face. Lord Harrington stood near the door. His presence made the space feel smaller. His eyes found Beatrice immediately. Something flickered in them when he saw her red cheek. His jaw tightened. "Miss Ashford, there you are." He turned to Victoria. "Mrs. Ashford, I was explaining my need for assistance with my library. Miss Ashford has the education required. I would like to hire her for 3 days per week. I will pay £5 per month. She may use my carriage for transport." £5. Beatrice's breath caught. That was more money than she had seen in years. Victoria's mind worked visibly behind her eyes. The money was considerable. Refusing would seem strange, but allowing Beatrice to work for a widowed lord would cause talk. "My stepdaughter is needed here," Victoria began. "I will make it £6, Lord Harrington said smoothly. "And I assure you, my housekeeper will be present at all times. Everything will be entirely proper. I simply need someone with care and education to preserve my late wife's collection. Miss Ashford seems ideally suited." Mentioning his late wife was brilliant strategy. It made the offer respectable. It also made refusing seem heartless. Victoria's smile was ice. "How generous, my lord. Of course Beatrice may assist you. She has little enough to occupy her time here." The lie was blatant. Beatrice did most of the household work, but she kept silent. "Excellent. She may begin Monday next. My carriage will collect her at 9 o'clock. Lord Harrington bowed. "Good day, Mrs. Ashford. Miss Ashford." He left. The front door closed. Victoria rounded on Beatrice immediately. £6 per month will go to household expenses. You will not keep a penny, and if I hear any improper talk about you and Lord Harrington, I will end this arrangement immediately. Am I understood? Yes, ma'am. Go. You have duties to complete. Beatrice returned to her room. She lay on her bed and stared at the ceiling. £6 per month that she would never see. 3 days per week surrounded by books. 3 days per week away from this house. 3 days per week in his presence. That last thought made her chest tighten. She thought of his grey eyes, the way he had noticed her red cheek, the gentleness in his voice when he asked about her days. No man had spoken to her like that since her father died. No man had looked at her like she was worth seeing. It meant nothing. She knew that. He was kind by nature. She was convenient for his needs. When the library was organised, he would forget her. That was how the world worked. Lords did not remember girls like her. But for a few months, she would live in beauty. She would touch books and smell sandalwood and old books. She would have something to remember when old age made her useless, and Victoria finally cast her out completely. It was enough. It had to be enough. Monday arrived too quickly. Beatrice woke before dawn. She washed carefully in cold water. Her best dress was brown wool with a mended collar. She looked like a governess or a poor relation. That was appropriate. That was what she was. The carriage arrived at 9 exactly. Victoria watched from the window with narrowed eyes. Charlotte hugged Beatrice quickly. "Be careful," Charlotte whispered. "Mother is looking for reasons to end this." "I know." The carriage ride to Thornwood Manor took 15 minutes. Beatrice tried not to notice the soft cushions or the way the interior smelled of leather and luxury. This was not her world. She must not forget that. The butler met her at the entrance. "Miss Ashford, Lord Harrington is waiting in the library. This way." The library was on the second floor. It was enormous, floor-to-ceiling shelves packed with books. 3 tall windows overlooked the gardens. A massive oak desk stood near the fireplace, and everywhere, chaos. Books piled on tables and chairs, volumes stacked on the floor, papers scattered across every surface. Lord Harrington stood near the desk. He smiled when she entered. "Miss Ashford, welcome. As you can see, the task is considerable." "It is wonderful," she breathed. The words escaped before she could stop them. His smile widened. "I hoped you would think so. My wife collected books obsessively. I have added nothing since her death. It has become overwhelming. I will organize it carefully, I promise. I have no doubt. Mrs. Hampton will check on you regularly. If you need anything, ring for her. I have work in my study today, but I am available should questions arise." He left. Beatrice stood alone in the chaos. Joy filled her chest like light. She could breathe here. She could be herself here. For 3 days each week, she could stop disappearing. She began with the volumes on the desk. Many were poetry: Byron, Shelley, Wordsworth. She touched them reverently. At home, she had only 3 books. All had belonged to her mother. She read them until she knew every word by heart. Here, knowledge stretched endlessly. History, philosophy, science, novels. Each spine was a door to another world. She wanted to open every one. Time vanished. She sorted books by subject. She noted damaged spines that needed repair. She created lists of what belonged where. The work was pure happiness. At midday, Mrs. Hampton appeared with lunch. Tea, bread, cheese, and cold meat. Far more than Beatrice usually ate. The housekeeper watched as Beatrice took the tray. "His lordship insists you eat properly. You are too thin." "That is very kind." "Lord Harrington is a good man, a sad man, but a good one. Do not take advantage of his kindness." The warning was clear. "I would never presume, Mrs. Hampton. I am grateful for this opportunity." The housekeeper's expression softened slightly. "See that you remember your place, girl. That is all I ask." Beatrice ate at the desk. Afternoon sun streamed through the windows. She could see gardens and distant fields. Everything was beautiful. Everything hurt with its beauty, because she knew this was temporary. Lord Harrington appeared around 3 o'clock. He looked tired. Lines marked his forehead. "How goes the work?" he asked. "I have sorted roughly half of the desk volumes. The categorization will take longer. There are so many subjects." "Take all the time you need. This library represents years of collection. It cannot be organized in days." He moved closer. "Are you comfortable? Is there anything you require?" "No, my lord. Everything is perfect." "Good." He paused. "Miss Ashford, I noticed a bruise on your cheek last time you were here. It has faded, but I wonder, are you safe in your stepmother's house?" The question shocked her. Gentlemen did not ask such things. "I am safe, my lord." You hesitated before answering. "My relationship with my stepmother is complicated, but it is not your concern." "Perhaps not, yet I find myself concerned regardless." His grey eyes searched her face. "You deserve better than complications." "We do not always get what we deserve." "No, we do not." Sadness filled his voice. "But sometimes, unexpectedly, we are given second chances." She did not know how to respond. He left soon after, but his words echoed in her mind. Second chances. Did such things exist? Or were they just stories people told to make suffering bearable? The weeks passed. Beatrice came every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The library slowly took shape. Books found proper homes. She repaired torn pages with delicate care. She created a catalogue system that made Lord Harrington's eyes light with approval. He often worked at the desk while she organised. Sometimes they talked. Small conversations about books or weather or estate matters. Sometimes they sat in comfortable silence. She learned the rhythm of his breathing. He learned the way she hummed softly when focused on delicate work. One Wednesday afternoon, she found a collection of Shakespeare sonnets. The pages were old and fragile. She was reading one quietly when Lord Harrington entered. "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" he quoted. "That is number 18. My wife loved that one." "It is beautiful." She used to say that true love must be immortalized in words, otherwise it vanishes like breath on glass. He moved to stand beside her. "I think she was right. I failed to immortalize my love for her. Now all I have are regrets." "You cannot blame yourself for her death." "I do not. I blame myself for her loneliness. I read her diary after she died. She was so alone. I never saw it." He looked at Beatrice. "I have become skilled at not seeing what is before me. It is easier to remain numb." "I understand that." The confession slipped out. "Feeling hurts too much sometimes. Numbness is safer." "Yes." His voice was soft, but also empty. "I think I have been empty for a very long time." Their eyes met. Something passed between them, understanding perhaps, or recognition. Two people acquainted with loneliness, speaking the truth finally. "Thank you for bringing life back to this room," he said. "It has been dead since Caroline left. You have made it breathe again." "The books did that. I only organized them." "No, you did it." He smiled. "Do not diminish yourself, Miss Ashford. You have a gift for creating beauty from chaos." Heat rose in her cheeks. She looked away. Compliments were dangerous. They made her want things she could not have. He left the room. She pressed her hands to her burning face. This was foolish. He was being kind, nothing more. She must remember that. She must not weave dreams from simple kindness. But when she returned to sorting books, she found herself smiling. That evening, back at her stepmother's house, Victoria cornered her. "You have been at Thornwood Manor for 6 weeks. The library must be nearly complete." "There is still much work to do, At least 2 more months, I expect. Victoria's eyes narrowed. What exactly do you do there all day? I organize books. I repair damage. I create catalogues. Alone? Mrs. Hampton checks on me regularly. Sometimes Lord Harrington works at the desk. Does he speak to you? Beatrice hesitated. Sometimes. About the books. Nothing else? No, ma'am. It was not entirely a lie, but it was not entirely truth either. Their conversations had grown longer, more personal. Last week he had told her about his son, the child who never drew breath, the grief that still woke him at night. She had told him about her mother, how sickness had stolen her slowly, how Beatrice had held her hand at the end and promised to be brave. That promise was all that kept her going some days. These were not conversations about books. They were conversations between two lonely people finding comfort in shared pain. But Victoria would not understand that. No one would. I am watching you, Victoria said. One whisper of scandal and this ends. Remember that. Beatrice returned to her attic room. She lit a candle and pulled out the 3 books that had belonged to her mother. But tonight, they were not enough. Tonight, she wanted more. She wanted the smell of Thornwood Library, the warmth of the fireplace, the sound of Lord Harrington's voice as he read passages aloud. She wanted impossible things, and that wanting would destroy her if she let it. 2 months became 3. The library was nearly complete. Beatrice worked more slowly now. If she finished too quickly, she would have no reason to return. So she double-checked catalogues. She found repairs that might be delayed. She stretched every task to its limit. Lord Harrington seemed to notice. He said nothing, but sometimes she caught him watching her with an expression she could not name, almost like he was memorizing her. One rainy Friday afternoon, she was high on a ladder returning books to an upper shelf. Her hands slipped. She gasped as her balance shifted. Strong hands caught her waist. Lord Harrington steadied her. He lifted her down from the ladder as if she weighed nothing, but he did not let go immediately. They stood close. His hands remained on her waist, her hands pressed against his chest. She could feel his heartbeat, fast, like hers. Are you hurt? His voice was rough. No, thank you. You frightened me. I am sorry. Do not apologize for my fear. He looked at her face like he was searching for something. Miss Ashford, Beatrice, I find myself at a loss. My lord? I hired you to organize books, but somewhere in these months you have done something far more dangerous. He released her suddenly. He stepped back. Conflict warred in his expression. Forgive me. That was inappropriate. What was inappropriate? My feelings. They have no place in this arrangement. You are here to work. I am your employer. That is all this can be. Is that what you want? The question escaped before she could stop it. Bold. Dangerous. Everything she should not say. What I want is irrelevant. You are young, poor, dependent on your stepmother. I am a widower with title and wealth. Any attention I show you would be seen as predatory. I will not do that to you. What if I do not see it that way? Then you are naive. But his voice held no conviction. I am 15 years older. I loved my wife. I carry grief like a stone in my chest. I am not whole, Beatrice. I am broken. We are all broken. She stepped closer, daring everything. Perhaps broken pieces can fit together in ways whole ones cannot. You deserve someone whole, someone who can give you joy. You give me joy. The truth hung between them. These months have been the happiest of my life, not because of books, because of you. His control shattered. He pulled her close. His lips found hers. The kiss was gentle and fierce at once. It tasted of desperation and hope. Beatrice melted into him. Every lonely year dissolved in that moment. She was not invisible. She was not worthless. She was wanted. When he pulled back, his hands shook. God help me, I cannot stop this. I do not want to stop this. Then do not. Your stepmother will cause problems. Society will gossip. I do not care about that. But you will suffer for it. I have suffered all my life. Let me suffer for something that brings happiness instead of pain. He kissed her again, longer this time. His hands cradled her face like she was precious. When they finally broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. I love you, he whispered. I did not think I could love again. But you have brought me back to life. You have made me feel when I thought I was dead inside. I love you too. Saying it aloud made it real, terrifying, perfect. Then marry me. Be my wife. Let me give you the life you deserve. Your world will never accept me. I do not care about my world. I care about you. He kissed her hands. Marry me, Beatrice. Please. Joy exploded in her chest. Yes. Yes. They held each other as rain drummed against the windows. For the first time in her life, Beatrice felt safe, loved, whole. But outside that room, the world waited. And the world was cruel to women like her, who dared to reach above their station. News of the engagement spread like fire. Victoria was apoplectic with rage, not because she cared about Beatrice, but because such a match elevated someone she had worked hard to diminish. You trapped him, Victoria hissed. You played on his grief and manipulated him. When he realizes what you are, he will cast you aside. But Lord Harrington did not cast her aside. He visited the house daily. He brought gifts. He ignored Victoria's barely concealed hostility. He announced the engagement publicly. Society reacted as expected. Whispers followed Beatrice everywhere. Gold digger, social climber, pretty little nobody who seduced a grieving lord. The ton closed ranks against her. Invitations were politely declined. Cuts were delivered with smiling faces. It hurt. She had known it would hurt. But William's love made the pain bearable. He defended her fiercely. He made it clear that anyone who insulted his future wife would earn his permanent enmity. Slowly, some of the gossip quieted. Fear of his displeasure carried weight. The wedding was planned for June, a small affair given his status as a widower, but beautiful. William wanted nothing but beauty for her. 2 weeks before the wedding, everything fell apart. Lord Ashton arrived from London. He was William's cousin. They had grown up together. Ashton was handsome and charming. He was also poisonous. He called on Beatrice at her stepmother's house. Victoria welcomed him eagerly. Beatrice saw the trap immediately, but she could not refuse to receive him without causing insult. Ashton sat in the drawing room with predatory ease. Miss Ashford, or should I say, the future Lady Harrington, how fortunate you are. I am very fortunate. Your cousin is a good man. A good man, yes. Also a rich man, a titled man. Everything a poor girl could dream of. My feelings for William have nothing to do with his wealth or title. Of course not. His smile was sharp. Tell me, Miss Ashford, does William know about your father's debts? Cold dread filled her stomach. What debts? Oh, you did not know. Your father was a gambler. He owed money to some very dangerous people. They came to collect after his death. Your stepmother paid them off to avoid scandal, but the records exist. I do not see what that has to do with anything. Don't you? A young woman from a disgraced family, a father who gambled away his fortune, a stepmother who barely tolerates her, and then, suddenly, she catches the eye of a wealthy lord. Society will wonder what methods she used. They will wonder if history is repeating itself. You are implying I am a fortune hunter. I am implying that appearances matter. William has been through enough pain. He does not need society whispering that his second wife married him for money. William knows my circumstances. He knows my heart. Does he? Or does he see what he wants to see? A pretty face, a sad story, a chance to be a hero. Ashton leaned forward. I care about my cousin. I will not watch him be destroyed again. If you truly love him, you will release him from this engagement. Let him find someone appropriate, someone whose past will not haunt him. That is not your decision to make. No, but I can make his life very difficult if you proceed. I have friends in society. I have influence. I can ensure that every door closes to you, every invitation is withdrawn, every event becomes an ordeal. Is that the life you want for him? Beatrice stood on shaking legs. You should leave. Think about what I said. You have 2 weeks. End this engagement, or I will make both of you miserable. He left. Victoria appeared in the doorway. She had been listening. He is right, you know. You will destroy Lord Harrington. The scandal will never die. His family will hate you. Society will shun you both. Is your selfishness worth his suffering? Beatrice fled to her room. She sat on her bed and tried to breathe. Everything Ashton said was true. She would bring William nothing but trouble. His world would never accept her. She had been foolish to think love was enough, but the thought of losing him was agony. He was her home, her safety, her joy. How could she give that up? How could she survive returning to this grey existence after tasting sunlight? She did not go to Thornwood Manor for 3 days. She sent word that she was ill. It was not a lie. Grief made her physically sick. She lay in bed and stared at the ceiling and tried to find the strength to do what was right. William came on the 3rd day. Victoria tried to turn him away. He pushed past her. He climbed the stairs to Beatrice's attic room. He did not knock. He simply entered. She sat up in bed. Her hair was tangled. Her eyes were red. She looked like the broken thing she was. What has happened? His voice was urgent. Are you truly ill? Should I send for a doctor? I am not ill. Not in body. He sat on the bed. He took her hands. Tell me. She told him everything. Ashton's visit, his threats, the truth about her father's debts. When she finished, tears ran down her face. I cannot do this to you. I love you too much to destroy your life. You should marry someone appropriate, someone who will bring you joy instead of scandal. You bring me joy. I bring you shame. You bring me life. His voice rose. I was dead before you. Every day was gray, every moment was empty. And then you walked into my library with your sad eyes and your gentle hands, and you made me want to live again. Do you understand what that means? You saved me, Beatrice, and now you want to cast me back into darkness because my cousin is a jealous fool. He will make good on his threats. Let him try. I do not care what society thinks. I do not care what my family thinks. I care about you. Only you. He cupped her face. Marry me. Let the world burn if it wants. We will build our own world. You will regret choosing me. The only thing I will regret is losing you. Do not make me live without you. Please. She wanted to be strong. She wanted to be selfless. But love was selfish. Love was wanting and needing and refusing to let go. So she held him tight and whispered yes into his chest, and damn the world that would try to tear them apart. The wedding was 10 days away. Beatrice tried to focus on preparations. Her dress was being made, simple but beautiful. Ivory silk with lace. Victoria had refused to help, so Charlotte had stepped in. Sweet Charlotte, who had always shown kindness. You love him, Charlotte said as they fitted the dress. I can see it. I do. So much it frightens me. Then do not let fear win. You deserve happiness, Beatrice. You have suffered enough. The words made her cry. Charlotte held her. I wish you were my real sister. I wish Mother treated you better. You have been a sister to me. That is enough." The night before the wedding, Beatrice could not sleep. She stood at her small window and looked toward Thornwood Manor. Tomorrow she would become Lady Harrington. Tomorrow she would have a real home. Tomorrow she would marry the man who had saved her from disappearing completely. A knock on her door. She opened it. Jane stood there, face pale. "Come quickly. It is Lord Harrington. There has been an accident." Beatrice's world tilted. She ran, down the stairs, out into the night. Jane had brought a horse. Beatrice rode faster than she ever had. Her nightgown billowed behind her. Terror clawed at her chest. "Please, please, please!" Thornwood Manor blazed with lights. Servants ran everywhere. She burst through the front door. Mrs. Hampton caught her. "Where is he? What happened?" "His horse threw him. He hit his head. The doctor is with him now." "I need to see him." "Miss Ashford, you should wait." "I need to see him!" Her voice broke. Mrs. Hampton's face softened. "Come." They climbed stairs, entered his bedroom. William lay in bed, pale and still. A bandage wrapped his head. The doctor stood nearby. Beatrice rushed to the bedside. She took his hand. "William, William, please." His eyes fluttered open. Confusion filled them. Then recognition. "Beatrice." "I am here, I am here." "I was coming to see you. Could not wait until tomorrow." He smiled weakly. Impatient fool. "You frightened me." "I am sorry." He squeezed her hand. "I had to tell you something. Could not wait." "What?" "That I love you. That you are everything. That whatever comes, we face it together." His eyes held hers. "No more doubts, no more fear. Promise me." "I promise." "Good." He closed his eyes. "Stay with me?" "Forever." She sat beside him all night, holding his hand, watching him breathe. The doctor said he would recover. The injury was not serious, but it had been close. Too close. By morning, colour had returned to his face. He woke to find her still there, her head resting on the bed beside him. "You stayed," he murmured. "I told you I would. We are getting married today. You need to rest. I need to marry you. Everything else can wait." He sat up slowly. "I am not missing our wedding, Beatrice. I refuse." He was impossibly stubborn. She loved that about him. "Very well, but if you collapse during the vows, I will say I told you so." Worth the risk. The wedding happened that afternoon, delayed by a few hours but not cancelled. William stood at the altar with his bandaged head and his grey eyes full of love. Beatrice walked down the aisle in her ivory dress, her heart so full she thought it would burst. They spoke vows, simple, traditional words that meant everything. His voice shook when he said, "I do." Her tears fell when he slipped the ring on her finger. "I pronounce you man and wife." He kissed her, gentle, perfect, the beginning of their new life. The guests were few. Charlotte and a handful of William's true friends, people who loved them both. Victoria had refused to attend. Lord Ashton had sent a cold note of congratulations. The rest of society stayed away. Beatrice did not care. She had William. She had love. That was enough. That was everything. They held a small wedding breakfast. Toasts were made. Laughter filled the room. For the first time in her life, Beatrice felt like she belonged. That night, they were finally alone. William led her to his bedroom. She was nervous. He saw it. "We do not have to do anything tonight," he said gently. "I am content simply to hold you." "I want this. I want you. I am just—" She struggled for words. "Afraid?" "Of not being enough." He pulled her close. "You are everything. You have always been everything. Let me show you. He kissed her slowly. His hands were gentle. He made her feel cherished, precious. The physical intimacy was awkward and perfect at once. By the end, they were laughing and kissing and clinging to each other. I love you, he whispered against her hair. I love you. She traced his jaw with her fingers. Thank you for seeing me, for making me visible. You were always visible, my love. The world was simply too blind to notice. They fell asleep, tangled together. For the first time since her mother died, Beatrice felt safe, completely safe. She was loved. She was wanted. She was home. The next months were the happiest of her life. William was an attentive husband. He showered her with affection. He listened when she spoke. He valued her opinions. He made her feel like an equal partner instead of a possession. She transformed Thornwood Manor. She added flowers to every room. She opened windows that had been closed since Caroline's death. She brought laughter back to the silent halls. The servants noticed, Mrs. Hampton especially. You are good for him, the housekeeper said one morning. He smiles now. We had forgotten he could smile. Society remained cold. Invitations were rare. But some of William's old friends began to visit. They saw how happy he was. Slowly, grudgingly, they accepted Beatrice. Not warmly, but with acknowledgement. It was progress, small but real. 6 months after the wedding, Beatrice realized she was with child. Joy and terror mixed in equal measure. She told William at breakfast. He stared at her. Then he laughed. Then he cried. Then he pulled her into his arms and held her like she might disappear. A child. We are having a child. Are you happy? Happy does not begin to cover it. Beatrice, you have given me everything. A reason to live, a reason to hope, and now this. He kissed her stomach gently. Thank you, thank you. She had never seen him so openly joyful. His grief over his lost son had been a shadow between them. Now, slowly, that shadow lifted. He hovered over her constantly, made sure she rested, hired the best doctor, insisted she do nothing strenuous. It was adorable and annoying at once. I am pregnant, not made of glass, she laughed. You are precious. I will not risk you. You cannot wrap me in cotton wool for 9 months. Watch me try. Charlotte visited often. She had married Mr. Davies and seemed content. She and Beatrice grew closer. It felt good to have family who chose love over obligation. Victoria never visited. Beatrice told herself she did not care, but some wounds never fully healed. The baby came in early spring, a son, perfect and healthy. William wept when he held the tiny bundle. He is here. He is real. Wonder filled his voice. What should we name him? Beatrice asked. Thomas, after your father. She started crying. That he would honor her father, who William had never met, showed the depth of his love. Thomas William Harrington, she whispered. Welcome to the world, little one. They were a family now, complete. The past, with all its pain, faded in the light of their present joy. 1 year after the wedding, Lord Ashton came to call. Beatrice tensed when she heard his name, but William squeezed her hand. We will face him together. Ashton entered the drawing room. He looked older, tired. He bowed stiffly. Cousin, Lady Harrington. Ashton. William's voice was cool. What brings you? I came to apologize. The words clearly cost him. I was wrong. About everything. I thought I was protecting you. I see now I was trying to control you. You are happy, truly happy. I was too blind to see that before. Beatrice said nothing. She waited to see what William would do. William studied his cousin for a long moment. You tried to destroy the best thing in my life. That is not easily forgiven. I know. I do not expect forgiveness. I simply wanted to say I was wrong. You have found joy. That is all that matters." Ashton looked at Beatrice. "Lady Harrington, you have made him whole. I wish I had seen that sooner." "Thank you," she said quietly. After Ashton left, William pulled her close. "You were gracious." He apologized. "That takes courage." "You are far kinder than I am." "No, I simply understand that people make mistakes. We are all trying our best in a complicated world." He kissed her forehead. "How did I get so lucky?" "We both got lucky. We found each other when we most needed finding." They stood in their drawing room, their son sleeping upstairs, their future stretching bright before them. The world had tried to keep them apart, but love had been stronger. Love had won. Years passed. Thomas grew. 2 more children followed. A daughter named Caroline after William's first wife. Then another son called Henry. The house filled with laughter and chaos and joy. Beatrice never forgot the cold attic room at her stepmother's house. She never forgot what it felt like to be invisible. Those memories kept her humble. They also made her appreciate every moment of happiness. She started a school in the village, free education for all children, regardless of wealth. William supported her completely. The school became her passion. Children who had been ignored suddenly had opportunities. It was a small way to give others what she had been given. A chance. Society eventually accepted her fully. Time had a way of smoothing rough edges. Lady Harrington became known for her charity work and her devotion to education. The whispers about her low birth faded. On their 10th anniversary, William took her back to the library where it all began. It was evening. Candles lit the room softly. "Do you remember the first time you came here?" he asked. "I was so nervous. I felt like I did not belong." "You belonged more than anyone. This room came alive when you entered it." He pulled her into his arms. "These 10 years have been the best of my life. You took a dead man and made him live again. You gave me purpose. You gave me joy. You gave me everything. You saved me too. I was disappearing. You saw me when no one else did. I will always see you." He kissed her. Always. She rested her head on his chest and listened to his heartbeat. Steady. Strong. The sound of home. She had come to return a coat. He had noticed the scent of his room still on her. That moment had changed everything. 2 broken people finding each other in the darkness. 2 lonely souls creating light together. It was not always easy. Life never was. But they faced everything hand in hand. And in the end, love really did conquer all. Years later, when her grandchildren asked about how she met their grandfather, Beatrice would smile and say, "It was raining. I was cold. He gave me his coat, and then he gave me everything else." It was the simple truth. The best truths always were.